Hello, 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 everybody. Jennifer Bleam. I am here with Alex Farling. Alex is, oh my goodness, he has so many cool stories and so much background in our industry. He is the co-founder of Lifecycle Insights and just an amazing wealth of knowledge when it comes to sales and growing your MSP. So Alex, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
It's a good thing I know something about sales because I was an absolutely mediocre technician. So
okay, well, you and I have that in common. I'm not even sure I would say I'm mediocre.
I was good enough to get in trouble.
And the extent of my troubleshooting is reboot, reboot a second time, and then I call my husband.
Raise your hand, yeah.
So I have built in tech support, much to his chagrin. So.
There you go.
Very cool. Okay, so we were chatting in the green room about all things related to sales and sales management, and we have plenty to chat about. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we'll talk about Lifecycle Insights in a few minutes. I definitely want to talk about that and dig in and have you share how that's helping MSPs grow, how become more mature with their whole quarterly business review process. But I want to jump into sales first. Okay. You and I are rare in the industry because we love sales. Like I would almost say that we thrive on sales. And so why do you feel like that is so unique in our industry?
Well, I think our industry, technology in general, attracts people who got into technology because it kept them away from people, right? It's just a different personality. It's a different, and that's not good, bad, or otherwise. It just is. Right, the kind of person, it's like accountants, the kind of people who sit in a corner and balance numbers are not generally the extrovert who likes to go out and tap dance in front of a bunch of people. The salesman, on the other hand, is somebody who gets a real rush out of going and interacting with a human and getting a yes and getting to come back with a cool thing. And also along with that, drop that cool thing and go, cool, that's a win. I'm out to go get the next one. Where the engineer has a different personality. They have that personality of stick to it till it's done, get everything perfect, refine that process, like do those things. And it's just it's a different mentality. It's a different kind of human being, almost introvert to extrovert. But it's what fuels you. It's what leaves you feeling good at the end of the day. I talked to my fiance about it. She's an operations person in banking, but she has more of that being out in front of people all day leaves me tired at the end of the day. And I'm the opposite, right? I go to a conference and talk to 400 people and do a 30-minute thing on stage. And I come home just jazzed and ready to go. And so it's just a different energy. It's a different fuel.
It's so interesting because I'm actually an introvert. So, and people think that I'm lying. And my sister was like, "No way, are you an introvert?" Yeah, I totally am. Like I've taken like countless studies, and I'm like, yeah, I'm an introvert. Now, I'm on the line. I'm not quite an ambivert. I'm definitely an introvert. But I can go to trade shows and work for 15 hours. But man, I hit hour 16. I'm done. Like those evening mixers are torture for me. I've got nothing left. So I actually attended like a 5-day trade show, and I was a tour guide for basically a SOC. And the last day, I really had I literally was in my hotel room crying. I'm like, what is my problem? Like
I flew out of BWI at 4:30 in the morning to go to write a boom. I was up until 1:30 the next morning. Straight, out with people doing things, and I woke back up the next morning at 8 o'clock ready to rock and roll. Like it's just I thrive on it. So I think a lot of salespeople fall into that category. There's no wide brush painting here. It's just the way it works. And a lot of technology folks, they're just, I find them to be more introverted and more down in the details of problem solving instead of high level, like get the yes and move on. Yes. And it's just a different, a different level of detail, a different personality.
It's interesting because you said something that I had never thought of from this perspective. Most of the owners are technologists. They love the technology side. They love picking new solutions because they get to, take it apart and, put it back together and try to break it. And all of that is fun. But they're used to machines that, largely speaking, when you tell them to do something, they listen. Yeah. I mean, yes, there's a reason that things break and they have to fix them. But generally speaking, if it is programmed correctly and it is maintained correctly, the machine does what it's supposed to do.
Right.
You can't quite control people that way. They don't follow our nice little scripts.
But that's why it's so wonderful when you can control them and get them to follow your script, and you get to go back and pump your fist and go, yeah, we won, right? You get to walk in the door and ring the bell in your office and go, yep, we just closed the deal.
Yes. I love it.
That's why it's so much fun and so wonderful, because it's not expected. There's a herding cats mentality in sales, right? We've got 3-4 people at the table that are involved in a decision-making process, and our goal is to get a person with an accounting background, a person with a CEO or CFO background, all of these different people, a sales department, a delivery department, all to the same place to say, it sounds like this guy over here can solve my problem.
Yes.
And so it's a very complex riddle to solve, but it's not nearly as reliable and dependable as technology.
Yes, agreed.
Which is why in technology, you're expected to get it right 100% of the time. And in sales, hey, if you get it right 70% of the time, you might probably be doing something pretty well.
Yes,
right?
60-70% close rate is great.
It's great, right? As long as you're closing the right business.
The buyer.
Yeah. So, that's why in sales, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's batting 1,000. And if you are, you're giving it away too cheap, or you're doing something else wrong.
So, okay, so that also begs the question, you mentioned, if you do things right every time, technology works, generally speaking. So you have to do things right with sales as well, just to get to that 60-70% close rate, which begs the question of having a checklist or an SOP or a process for sales. Like what do we do? What does that look like? What does that workflow appear like? Whatever, on paper in your CRM as a checklist.
So we actually built it into ConnectWise, and ConnectWise has a sales funnel function in ConnectWise. It's pretty ugly out of the box. We tore it apart and rebuilt it, and you can actually customize it. I don't know that most people know that. So we built our Sandler sales funnel into ConnectWise, and I use a lot of Sandler related selling. I've learned some things from you and from Alex Rogers and from all the smart people in the industry over the years. But before I was in IT, I worked for Ford. I worked for Radio Shack. I mean, you want to talk about two companies that bring you in on a Saturday to go train you on something. I worked for Bell Atlantic Mobile about the time it became Verizon. And they brought you in on a Saturday morning before the store was open and talked through objection handling and sales and how to, just all the bits and pieces that most MSPs were never exposed to. So they get uncomfortable in a spot that I forget how many times somebody stood in front of a room and taught me how to do it. Yeah, I think that's another differentiator. But we built that sales funnel in our PSA, and it was 5 steps, right? It's the right fit call. Ring, ring. Hey, I've got a prospect on the phone. I don't know how they got there. I'm not a marketing guy, but I've got a prospect. How did they get there? We're going to talk through, are you a good fit for me? Right. Once I decide they're a good fit for me, then we schedule an on-site. We go out and meet with them, talk pain, try and figure out exactly what hurts, try and establish some kind of a rough and tumble budget. I use the Sandler bracketing. Hey, if I came back, I've seen in my history that companies your size cost $3,000 or $4,000 to solve the kind of problems that you're experiencing. If I come back to you with a number that's $3,000 or $4,000 a month, can we do business, or are you going to throw me out of here? And when they come back and say, yeah, that number works, then I go on and move to step 3, which is the actual discovery. Send an engineer out. I learned a long time ago to send an engineer to do that because I wanted to be the thought leader, and I wanted somebody else to be considered the fix-it guy. So you'd send an engineer out the next day. They do the network scans. They poke around the server room, look at the asset tags on everything, see how old everything is. Then we kind of pull back, compare my notes to the engineer's notes, build a plan. Step 4 is a confirmation call with the client prospect. We're going to compare notes. We're going to talk about all the pain, remind them of everything that hurt. We're going to remind them of the budget we talked about. We're going to tell them we think we've got a solution that'll work for them, but we got to dot some I's and cross some T's. We're going to dot those I's and cross those T's, and then we're going to go out step 5 and deliver to them. And my favorite delivery is one where I brought an account manager with me who was struggling to close deals. And we went into a school for a pretty big deal. It was about 1,100 student school.
Nice.
We laid out in front of 7 people who were on their technology steering committee. Delivered the pitch, pain, budget, decision-making process. Everybody's here. Does it sound like we've solved for all the pain that you had if we can deliver this on budget? Yeah, it does. Well, we're doing it within the budget you talked about. Did you guys want to sign now, or should I go stand in the hallway while you wait? While you wait for me, or while I wait for you to talk about me? And they looked around the room, and you saw a couple of head nods, and they reached across the desk and grabbed the paperwork and signed it. On the way out to the car, my engineer or my account manager goes, I can't believe what kind of Jedi mind trick stuff you just pulled on those people. Like, what in the world? He's like, I could never say that to a human. And I said, what was the worst thing they were going to say to me? Go stand in the hallway for 15 minutes, or we're not ready to make a decision today. And at that point, I get to go, well, that's great. I would hate to have to chase you down later. And I'm sure you wouldn't want me calling and bugging you. So how about we just put something on the calendar for next Tuesday or next Friday, whichever works better for you, and we'll follow up.
Yeah.
And so, those are the things that it's a really simple 5-step process. If you've watched Ninja One's, any of their content on sales, they actually use my 5-step funnel.
I love it.
We worked with them on a collaborative thing and built it out. And it's an easy process.
Mhm.
But the point is, it's a process. And
Yes.
I still to this day, I haven't owned my MSP for almost 2 years now. And still to this day, when I drive through Centerville, Maryland, there's a company that I drive by and go, they should have been my customer and I screwed it up. And you know what I
Oh.
did? I didn't follow my own process. I got busy and I mailed in the quote and they disappeared on me.
So it's so interesting because now you have the process, right? You can, whether it's a flow chart or a checklist or it's in your PSA or whatever, now you can follow that process. You can kick yourself if you don't follow that process. If and when you scale and you want to bring on a salesperson, you share the proven process that's working. But what I like is that I suspect that wasn't your first sales process. Maybe it was because you had a background.
No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. We went through quite a few iterations. In fact, at one point, I had a account manager who I was just really struggling to get my way across to, and we were way different personalities. So I hired a Sandler sales coach, and they worked with him for a year and a half. And that sales funnel actually was the result of them helping me refine what I did. So no shame. I've been in sales my whole life. It still doesn't hurt to have a coach every now and again to keep you honest and help you refine your work.
100%. And so I want to make sure the people that are listening understand that at some point, let's pretend like you had someone who said, no, don't go wait out in the hallway. Just go away. We'll let you know when we're ready to buy. And if you hadn't had any sales background, you would have been like, okay, great. Everyone was nodding. It seemed to go well. I had great rapport. I found pain. I solved for the pain. They agreed on the budget. They're just going to call me tomorrow, next week, next month. And then they never do.
Yep.
And
then
so
you get stuck in the chase, right? Do I call them? Do I not call them? Am I annoying them? I sent them an email and they didn't answer, and that's miserable. So, that defined next step is an important part of that sales process.
And so, but my point is that if that went wrong, now you've baked something back into your process, back up the chain of command so that it doesn't happen next time. Right.
Right. Something we did with our sales process and with my account managers and myself, we would call each other after every sales appointment. And it wasn't about like, hey, talk me through what I screwed up or whatever. It was actually recap what you did and tell me what you could have done better or different. Because even when you close, even when you win, there's still something to learn, right? I got an objection that I should have addressed earlier. It never should have come up. Or I'm famous for telling people if you're at a point in your sales career where you're worried about overcoming objections, take 10 steps back because your objections are coming from your presentation or your data collection or something else. Go fix that, and the objection will just never show up.
It's so funny because in your life, there are just certain conversations that are they stand out to you and they are so pivotal in your life. I was doing sales for an MSP for my husband, and I loved it. I've always loved sales, and I was complaining to my accountability partner how I didn't have a sales manager, and so therefore I couldn't go back and review my sales calls, and I would be getting better if only I had a sales manager. And to his credit, he let me whine and grumble about 4 or 5 sales calls in a row before he stopped me and said, okay, so you can keep whining about it. And you're right. You don't have a sales manager to help you go over. You have a process. You have a checklist. Do it yourself or stop whining about it.
Right.
And I went, oh, well, okay.
And when I left the MSP business and came over here full time, I spent the first year here just doing sales demos. I mean, that was my entire function. And while it gets old and repetitive, there's nothing wrong with at the end of every demo, just grabbing a pen and paper and going right and wrong. What do I need to fix? What should I do again? What should I not do again? Right. It's the old Jim Collins stop doing list. And quite often fixing your sales process is just a stop doing list. Like, don't put your foot in your mouth like that again.
And like you said, sometimes there are moments of absolute gold and you're like, wow, that came out brilliantly. I should
3 days from now,
probably
you'll
try
forget
to
it if you don't
memorize
write
that.
it down. Yeah.
Yes. So I think too often, especially if it's owner-led sales, and perhaps if it's an employee that's doing sales, you're running from one thing to the next, and you don't take that 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't take long to, especially if you have a documented process, it certainly doesn't take long to stop and say, Did I follow my process? Where did I go off the rails? Where
Yeah.
did the prospect maintain control? And how could I have gotten control back? Or
Reflection's an
if,
important part of it.
yes,
And so we did a webinar a while ago and we called it Sales, It's Just a Process. And what we forget about is that, and you and I talked about this in the green room a little bit, we have a process for how to document the time you use to go to the little boys room when you're a technician at an MSP. But a lot of owner-led sales organizations don't have any kind of process for sales.
yeah,
Think about that. The dude in the bathroom costs you $32.50 if he's there for 15 minutes, right? What does losing a sale cost you?
that's a good point.
Tens of thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
right? It's probably a six-figure number on a good deal. Why is there not a process? And as MSPs, we're masters at start a process, iterate, make it better every time, make it smoother every time, document a little more, refine it as we go. They're excellent at it. And yet when it comes to sales, it's the scary voodoo thing that we don't want to touch. And
Well,
writing it down and putting it on paper and giving yourself something to improve from, in my mind, is the biggest thing that an MSP can do to change that.
and I think part of it is what you just said. It's this scary voodoo thing. I was talking to an MSP, has about $1 million company. It's always been owner-led sales to this point. And probably for the next almost year, it'll continue to be owner-led sales. And he kept saying, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at sales. And I finally stopped him and said, well, hold on a second. You have $1 million company. You've built it in about 4.5, 5 years. Most people would say that's pretty decent growth. And you've closed all those sales. Why do you keep saying you're not good at sales? And so we unpacked it a little bit, and come to find out, shockingly, he doesn't like sales. He thinks it's slimy. He has memories from his childhood.
But let's think about how the average MSP interacts with salespeople today. Look at the vendors in the channel. Is that a sales method that you would teach to your MSPs to go out, how to go out and earn business, right? A bunch of hard calls, a bunch of junk on LinkedIn, a bunch of spam on the internet. Or is this about, and at my MSP, it was largely referral-based selling. So, their interactions all day are with slimy used car salesmen that work for a bunch of the vendors in the space. And as vendors in the space, I believe we have to do better, right? Yes. We have to treat our prospects and our customers better. They have a ton of value to us. Every MSP listening to this, as a vendor, we need to treat them better. So we really avoid all of the slimy sales tactics that you see in the space.
Yes.
And we lead with the same kind of sales that I did at my MSP, which was, do you have a problem? And if you do, am I the right person to help you solve it, right? If I can solve a problem for you, I'm not a pushy jerk trying to get you to buy a widget. I'm somebody who's trying to streamline your business, make you more efficient, save you time, make you money. If I can do that, then life is good.
Yes.
So, I think that MSPs too often, when they think about sales, they think about what was an uncomfortable experience instead of being that consultative salesperson who sits down with someone and listens to them and understands their problem, and then addresses how to fix it within the budget that person has. And that's really just a consultation, right?
Right.
When I'm playing, salesman at an MSP, sitting down with the customer and helping them unpack their budget and going, well, how are you going to pay for all this? Let's figure all this out. And we're playing fractional CFO, really. We're going, hey, here's your budget for technology. Yep. I'm going to deliver it to you and show you what it's going to take to run your business. And if you can have those kind of conversations, all of a sudden you become that trusted advisor that the industry's been lying to MSPs for years, telling them that we were going to show them how to get there. Right. We failed them. Right. We told them that because it sounded cool. We didn't get them there. And so that's kind of the journey that we're on today, is just how to give them the tools that they need to get to that position. But, the average MSP, I think, just has had a terrible experience with sales, or they've worked with a sales guy like me who, when I worked for my MSP, they called it seagulling, right? I would run out and sell something. I'd come back flying in and go, here's the contract that's signed. Bye. I'm out of here. Go do something else. Get that deployed, get it invoiced, whatever, and, fly around, poo all over everybody's desk and fly away. So they've dealt with that kind of sales. And what they haven't dealt with is somebody who's just out there doing, hey, Mr. Customer, Mr. Prospect, can I improve your business a little bit? And yeah, you're going to pay me something for that in return. Mm-hmm. And that's why we used account managers for sales in my business. I didn't have a dedicated salesperson.
So let's unpack account management a little bit, because that's pretty unusual for a company that's around $1 million or so. Yeah. That's, I guess, about the time they're talking about hiring a hunter. Yes. So you went straight for account management.
Yeah, because
what does that look like?
Because account management was taking up too much of my time. It was about buying my time back. Okay. But I also realized that at $1 million, account management done right would grow me $150,000, $250,000 a year in MRR. And so that person would pay for themselves right away. It was about keeping and retaining the clients I already had, which is always cheaper than going out and hunting for new ones. And done right, our business review process just gushed out referrals. So then we would end every business review with, Mr. Customer, did I deliver value to you here today? We've done these before. And what do you think of the value we delivered today? And when they said, yeah, this is on point, we go, great. Who else do you know who would benefit from this kind of value in their business? And if they said no, it could have been better, then it's our opportunity to step right back and do the same thing I said as a salesperson. What could I have done better or different to deliver the value you needed to see today? Right. And then we learn, and then we evolve, and we build our process a little better. So, but those people who could do that job were the same exact people who, when they got the referral, they could go out and say, hey, Bob over here mentioned you to me. I'd like to sit and chat with you. We'll talk about what Bob and I have done together. But this is what it's like to do business with me, right? A sales guy who you hire, who's never been a tech, never seen your operations, never really done anything, doesn't know what it's like to do business with you. So they're out knocking on doors, doing whatever they can do to get somebody to sit down in front of them. Where an account manager really can speak authoritatively to, this is what it's like to do business with me, because they get yelled at when somebody screws up. They handle all the bad relationship stuff. They get to stand out in front of the help desk and pat themselves on the back when everything goes well, right?
Right.
And I hired an account manager for a $30 million MSP. She was the director of customer success at a $30 million MSP. She got laid off. She came to work for my tiny little MSP. And she says, this is amazing. I don't get yelled at all day. This is fantastic. And so when she went out, she was so much happier to go out and talk to new people and go do new things. Because she says, your team hustles and they take care about their customers. And at $30 million, we had all kinds of slackers up there that were screwing it up. And it was much harder for her to stand out in front of that company because she was taking slings and arrows all day. With us, she was able to go, hey, our clients love us, and this is what it looks like to work with us. And you want to talk to one of our clients? And she had the relationships to just go, I'm going to pick up the phone and call Sally over here, and she'll tell you what it's like to work with us.
Nice.
So, that account manager thing and account management as an extent, or sales as an extension of account management, to me is just such a logical fit until you get to $4 or $5 million and you've got to have hunters and have be stuffing the top of the funnel, right? But until you're several $1 million, I think that method works really, really well. And your account managers, when they don't have leads, don't have referrals, while you're still figuring out how to market, which is something MSPs suck at, they can be investing back in your current client base and making you money.
Okay, so you built your MSP, you grew your MSP, you exited, and now you're part of Lifecycle Insights. This is your baby, you co-founder. For MSPs that aren't familiar with what you do, what the tool is, help us understand that.
So we basically take data that has traditionally been stranded in a bunch of remote systems, pull it together, aggregate it, make it pretty, make it easy for MSPs to go have business conversations with their clients. So whether it's a QBR, whether it's a sales pitch, whether it's just a standard risk assessment, we set them up with those tools and kind of automate that process so that it's easier, faster, and really more business focused, instead of going out to your customer and saying, hey, you got to upgrade because not enough GBs. We can go out and have the business case and say, hey, this piece of equipment is 6 years old. It should have died at 5 years old. It's on your budget to be replaced. What's the holdup? So we can have that business conversation instead of a techie conversation.
So we have a comment. Jerry Morgan just commented, we use Lifecycle Insights for our QBRs.
See, that's somebody who knows how to market. She could teach me that.
Yes, she's amazing. She's got different irons in the fire, which I think is part of the magic, is that while I want you to go all in, anytime you try a tactic, you can't expect a single thing to deliver everything you need, except for possibly referrals as you're growing, like you were saying, up to a certain.
There's a ceiling for that too, though.
Yes, there is 100%. Okay, so fueling QBRs, aggregating this data, pulling it out from other vendors, teaching MSPs how to have these business level conversations, not technology conversations. I love it. If they want a demo, where do they reach out to you? And then I also want to talk about kind of what's coming.
Lifecycleinsights.io. All the cool .coms were taken. It is 2020 when we started this company, but lifecycleinsights.io. There's a free trial there, and there's a contact us page there. You can schedule a demo, and somebody will sit with you right away.
Awesome.
It's really that easy. We're huge on the free trial. So our free trials for 30 days. It includes all of your white glove onboarding. Our plan is do the onboarding, do the free trial. If you're not making money by the end of it, we failed you. And we'll spend some time white glove with you to make sure that you're making money with the tool before you ever have to pay for it. And in an industry where there's a lot of vendors out there trying to take money from MSPs, I think that kind of differentiates us.
I like it. Okay, so what is coming down the pike? I know
Oh
you
yeah.
just finished a couple of things. So if you want to talk about some things that are hot off the presses, as well as maybe some things that are right around the corner, that'd be
So
awesome.
yeah, we just finished a big integration with Breach Secure now. So now we're the only VCIO platform I'm aware of that can include customer security and customer health data, and user security scores in the QBR conversation, in the real big security conversation. So that's been a pretty big boon for our customers. It's been easy for them to do that integration and then go present that stuff at a good time, because the problem before was the security awareness training stuff. It's hard to broach that subject with your customer, right? So and so fails their phishing. They clicked on a link. Now I got to pick up the phone and call HR. HR goes, "I'm busy. I don't want to talk about this. Like, is it really that big a deal?" But when we're already in the room having a QBR, it's really easy to go, "Hey, here's the two people that clicked on a phishing link this quarter. Billy's clicked on every phishing link for the last 4 quarters. We probably should take away his keyboard. But Sally over here probably just needs a little bit of extra training." And we can just include that in the rest of the conversation when you have the whole leadership team in the room, and it gets the leadership team to buy into that portion of security and help you understand that that is as important as physical security or software or anything else that you're buying. But Art Gross said something that I really hadn't thought about, and that is that integration, and he's right, the human failure helps us sell every other security product we have,
Yes,
right?
yes.
If not for humans clicking on things that they shouldn't or doing things that they shouldn't, we probably wouldn't need all these other tools. Most of these tools are here to protect us against human error.
And that's interesting, because one of the biggest objections is, well, it won't happen to me, or my employees are perfect, or whatever. As I can laugh at that, because I know employees are no human is ever perfect. It doesn't matter if they're an employee or an owner.
Humans are fallible.
But yeah, humans are fallible. But if you don't overcome that objection, ideally in advance, because I know we've talked about that before,
Yep.
then they're going to throw that up at you and say, no, I don't need any of this because my employees are perfect angels.
Right.
So if you can demonstrate that humans are fallible, and here, like, we're not throwing Bob under the bus, but Bob clicked a link, and
they won't do it intentionally, but they will. Yeah. They will make a mistake.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So what's coming? I have a feeling, but I'll let you spill the beans.
We got a big splash coming in the next 8 or 10 days. We've got some stuff in QA that is, as long as it gets out of QA on time, we'll be ready to roll by the end of the month. We're going to be dropping the industry's first customer success and customer retention platform. So this is a platform that's basically designed to bolt onto our core module and give you additional information. So it's going to help us first segment out our clients to say, okay, these are the clients who are high tech, high touch, spend a lot of money with me. I should be meeting with them either monthly or quarterly or whatever works for your company. Then there's another tier of customers who maybe we only meet with twice a year. And then another tier of customers who we only meet with once a year. And so we're having that conversation around what level of engagement do you need for a customer who spends $10,000 a month with you versus do you need that same level of engagement with the guy who spends $750 a month, right? And so we're helping MSPs break that out, get some visual on it, and see, hey, this is the effort this customer takes, this is the money they spend, they go into this box. But along with that, we'll bring them customer health. So we'll show them who the customer is, who maybe lost a senior member of leadership last quarter and now is bringing in somebody new who probably has allegiances to another IT company. We'll show them things like, the customer who had a really low employee security score, so they're likely to get breached and blame you for it. They got a really low risk assessment score, so we ran a security risk assessment against them. They came back with a really bad score, and that tells me that they're not buying into what I sell. They're not doing what I tell them. They don't really value me. And when somebody comes along and says they'll do it for $20 less, they'll probably go that way. Yeah. So we'll help you score that customer health. And the last piece of that is identify opportunity in your existing customers. Because I talked about it a little bit ago, there's 20, 25, 30, 35% margin in most MSPs' current client base that could be drummed up. We're going to start identifying that for you. We're actually, our end goal, and it won't be this way on our first rollout, but our end goal is that we will read your agreements with your customers. We'll identify the products that are on them through our API, and then we'll compare those to a stack that you told us is your golden stack. I'll tell you, this client doesn't have this product and they don't have this product. And if you sold them these two products, you'd make another $300 a month in MRR, and they'd be better aligned with your security practices.
And so you are less at risk, and they are less at risk. So that's
win-win and MRR.
Love
Kind of
it.
hard to argue. So, all that data really exists, and we're working on the right hooks and the right APIs and the right things to pull some of that together. We're also going to do a couple other small integrations. We're looking at things like a know before integration. I think next quarter we'll do like a ID agent or one of those kind of integrations. So we're going to bring more of that human training stuff in. Lots of little integrations on the way, but the big one is that customer success platform. Because if you go to a big software company like ConnectWise, for example, they use a product called Gainsight. If you read the bottom of their customer success emails, it's powered by Gainsight. Gainsight's job is to make sure that you don't churn as a customer. It's to know who's going to churn and keep an eye on them, right? If you think ConnectWise doesn't care about your account, you're wrong. They know which accounts are going to churn. They just know they only have the energy and the resources to spend on the big ones that they care about. Gainsight tells them that. Same at your MSP. If you lost your $200 a month account, do you care as much as if you lost that $10,000 a month account? Well, you're going to put a different level into saving each of those accounts. So we want to deliver a chunk of that feature set without the $10,000 a month price tag that comes with the tools that are in the big industries today.
It's so interesting because this is going to shake a few things up, because up until now, customer experience has really been nothing more than a net promoter score or like a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but
well, we're going to read some of that and bring it into that health score, but we want more into that, right?
Yeah, this is a lot more robust. I mean, it really is sounding like almost a SWOT analysis for every one of your clients.
Right. And if I know that Jennifer's company has bought one new laptop a quarter from me for the last 12 quarters, and all of a sudden she doesn't buy anything for 2 quarters, what happened? What changed?
Yes.
Like, is that, and that's just one straw. But if a couple of those straws stack up, we break the camel's back and the customer's gone. So we want to identify all those little teeny tiny data points and start to build up a score that says, hey, there might be a problem over here, and you probably should go perform some CPR on this relationship before it codes.
Right. Man, I was already a fan, and I know a lot of MSPs were already a fan of Lifecycle Insights before, but I really feel like this is going to be a game changer.
It's going to be big. And so my two of my business partners actually were very heavily involved in customer success at another company, at a large company running multi-million-dollar accounts before they came to work with me on Lifecycle Insights. So they're really experts in this space and in the customer success space, and they've managed to marry it very well to the rest of the process and the tools that we use. So we'll be the first real place to go for your account managers to live outside of your PSA, because a PSA is a miserable place for an account manager to try and do their job. It's just the wrong tool. It's just the only tool we have. So, we're over here with a wrench trying to hammer a nail, and it just doesn't work.
Amazing. Okay, great stuff. Can you give your website again? I dropped it in the chat for anybody who's listening while they're driving.
Yep, lifecycleinsights.io, or you can find us on just about any social media at Lifecycle Insights MSP.
Amazing. You guys put out some of the most creative angles and just fun content as far as social media and your webinars, and just your presence is amazing.
Every one of us has had a job we didn't necessarily enjoy, and we just decided if we were going to do this, we were going to have fun at it. So yeah, we do silly stuff like go buy lifecycleinsights.sucks and put it on all our banners for IT Nation. We did that. So, and it's still up. If you want to go check out lifecycleinsights.sucks, you can go check that one out. And then we printed lifecycleinsights.socks, and we wore those around for a while. So
very cute.
Yeah. So, we do the silly stuff because we're here to have fun, but, we really want to prove to the channel that we can do all of this. We can be well engaged. We can have fun. And I think there's a small group of up and coming vendors out here that are taking this spin, that we can protect the channel. We can do right by the MSPs. We can really work in their corner and deliver a ton of value and just have good relationships with them.
Yeah,
because their customer success really is our company's success at the end of the day.
Love it. Thank you so much. I can't believe our time is up, but man, great stuff. I know tons of people are going to watch the replay. We'll probably share this out to a couple of different social platforms, but thank you for your time. So much appreciative.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.